Taxes. Picture this. Imagine you just had a hard month at work, slaving away, flipping burgers at your local McDonald's. You're in bed when you get an email from them. It says you've been paid $2,000, but your bank account only gets $1,456. You scroll down the stub: federal income tax, state tax, Social Security, Medicare. This is the modern ritual of giving away a chunk of your money to invisible forces, and they expect you to say, "Thank you." Here's the deal. Taxes are the cost of civilization. You pay the government, builds roads, funds schools, makes sure your favorite taco truck isn't infested with rats, and sends billion-dollar missiles to places you've never been. But there are different types of taxes. Income tax, which hits the money you make; sales tax, which hits the money you spend; capital gains tax, which hits the money your investments made while you were asleep. The government takes a little bit of every dollar. Nearly everyone also pays Social Security tax and Medicare tax. Basically, Social Security tax is like the government forcing you to save for your retirement. They force you to save money now, and you get it paid back to you over time when you retire. Medicare, however, is a health insurance tax that goes to supporting older people or people with serious health issues. Now comes filing your taxes. Oh boy. The government knows how much you owe, but it makes you guess. How cool. If you're right, no worries. But if you're wrong, you're cooked. When it comes to actually paying taxes, some people pay every few months, some people pay yearly, and then there's those people that don't pay at all and end up in documentaries. I get that taxes are annoying, but it's not all bad. Countries with higher tax rates generally have a higher quality of life all around. Banks. So you walk into a bank, hand the cashier your money, they count it, smile, and tell you it will be added to your account. You walk out and think, great, now it's sitting in a vault somewhere being guarded by a dragon. But in reality, that money's already gone. Most people think of banks like a big safe with only one job, guarding people's money. But in reality, they are just a middleman or a matchmaker for financial transactions. When you deposited that $1,000, the bank took $900 of it and gave it to someone who wants to buy a jet ski. That system is called fractional reserve banking, which basically relies on the idea that they only actually need to keep a fraction of the money on hand because not everyone is going to show up at the same time asking to withdraw 100% of their account. That is, unless it's 2008, of course. When people lined up to withdraw the entirety of their account, which caused the entire system to crumble, banks make money by lending your money at a higher interest rate than they are giving you. That's really it. You're the supply of money, and the person borrowing is the demand. The banks entice you to deposit your money because of a few reasons. It's much easier and more convenient to spend on a card or transfer than carrying around cash all the time. They are literally paying you to hold your money with them in the form of interest. It is much safer to keep your money in a bank than in a shoebox in your room. In the US, most banks are insured up to $250,000 per person, meaning no matter what, the government assures you that your money up to $250,000 is safe. Interest. Imagine you borrow $1,000. You have to pay back $1,280. Why? Because of interest. Interest is money's way of charging rent to exist in someone else's hands. When you borrow, interest is the price tag for using someone else's cash. When you lend or save, interest is the reward for being patient and boring. There are two main types. Simple interest is like, here's a flat fee, thanks for playing. Compound interest is, every dollar I gave you now has clones, and they also want rent. Let's say you owe 20% interest on a credit card. You miss a payment, now your interest is earning interest. Soon, your $12 burrito turns into a $50 regret. On the flip side, investing at 7% annual compound interest, that's your money duplicating itself like a cheat code. $100 becomes $200, then $400, then one day you wake up and you're old, rich, and a little smug about it. This is why interest is the silent engine behind both wealth and debt in loans. It's the slow burn that turns small mistakes into financial fires. In investments, it's the time bomb that turns small gains into massive wins. So what's the hack? If you're paying interest, kill it fast. If you're earning interest, let it sit, feed it, and give it time. Interest is either your worst enemy or your best unpaid employee. The choice is in who's collecting it.